Chris Ballard, both receiving contract extensions through the 2026 season, the team announced today. For all your foundation repair and waterproofing needs, visit USSTN.com. Breaking news at once on your home for the Titans and Vols. This is 104.5 The Zone.
He's been the best Titans reporter in town, so of course we had to get ourselves some of that. It's Buck Reising on 104.5 The Zone.
Had a fun one so far. You missed any of it, there's a podcast. Meantime, we got one more hour to do. We invite your participation as always. 615-737-1045 is the number. 615-737-1045 is how you get involved. Now, we will have the ability. I have been loath to do this previously, Lucas, but we will have the ability to take calls with Will Compton in studio. Oh, is he strutting in now?
Behind you.
Uh-oh. Is he through the window? Look at him. He's going to come in here. He's going to pollute the proceedings already. If you want to get in for Will Compton, 615-737-1045.
He just texted me that he's out
the
front.
number. Oh, good.
I was going to make him wait.
He's just been out here loitering. No, send him in. Send him in. If he's gonna bog this thing down already, why not start now? We will have Titans fullback Khari Blasingame join us in this segment as well. Will, of course, wanders into the wrong studio and is showing the entirety of Zone TV, who is watching him live on Facebook Live, YouTube, Twitter, and Twitch. That they are number one. Of course. Yes, very good. Good job out of you. So he'll wander into the studio at some point and then bother me, and we'll go on from there. But in the meantime, we are going to talk about the most surprising things that I have seen at Titans camp. The most surprising thing I have seen at Titans camp is how impressed I have been with the defense. The defense that continues to cause problems for – what are you doing? Don't come over here. You have your own microphone. You can – nobody can hear you. Don't talk to me while I'm doing a live radio show. Sit down before I start cussing at you and forget that we're on live radio. Unbelievable. Will Compton of Bussin' with the Boys joins us now. Lucas will get him set up in due time, and we will begin the proceedings around here. Of course, he sits down at the wrong station because I put headphones on the other station for him because I'm trying to be considerate. But, such is life. The thing that surprises me, you just want to get into – turn your microphone on. Don't just sit there and yell at me from the background. What are you doing? Lucas, turn his microphone. It's on.
There's a camera right here.
There is a camera right there. There are cameras everywhere, but I put the headphones for you on the other side.
Dude, don't talk to me that way in front of your fan base. When I came to you, I came to your studio, and you know what happened?
What?
I am standing out in front of the building.
Yes.
A nice gentleman lets me in.
Yes.
He says, yeah, hey, can I help you? And I said, yeah, I'm doing a Buck Reising's show. He said, oh, Buck's not here.
What do you mean he said I'm not here?
And I said, well, where is he? He's like, oh, he's at training camp. And I'm sitting there. And I go, is Lucas here? And he goes, oh, yeah, Lucas is up here. And so we start walking up the stairs, and I'm just fuming in my brain. Like, why? And can we get him to press the button? Because I want to cuss.
No, you can't do it that way. That's not the way.
We're not doing that.
That's not the way
Hey,
this.
can we do it? Can
No,
you do it, Lucas? Thumbs up?
No, it's not an exact science, Tom.
You can't tell the FCC that we're going to break their rules and then try and break their rules
Why in
retroactively.
the FCC am I coming to Buck's studio and he's not here?
They have practice later today. Today, apparently nobody told the station, the rest of it, because they put it out on Twitter that I was going to be at training camp today, and I had to quote tweet my own employer and be like, no, actually, I'm coming into work today. Because training camp is later in the afternoon, because Vrabel's trying to kill us all at 3:40 in the sun.
Yeah, it's a hot one today.
It's not great.
I saw the weather posted by the Nashville Soccer Club.
That's how you get your weather?
That's how I got my weather.
From the soccer team?
Yeah, what is it, 108 index?
Yeah, it's not going to be great.
Yeah.
So I'm going to die out there. I imagine you're not missing training camp right now.
I enjoy the AC.
Yeah.
Like, I'm not mad that I'm in the AC.
I enjoy the finer things in life.
Yeah.
A little air conditioning. Will Compton, of course, presented to us by All American Pest Control. Plans as low as $39. Visit yuckbugs.com. By the way, I have to settle up with you on that account before I forget, since you're physically in front of me. Well, this is lovely. And by the way, don't make it seem like I begged you to come down here. You have been harassing me to come to do these things in person.
Is this what we're gonna do?
Yes. What did you think this was going to be?
No. I'm saying I begged you. Is that what you're saying?
I didn't
I'm
say.
saying, is that what we're saying is going to happen?
I am saying that you were harassing me to come.
Are you gaslighting me right now?
Absolutely. That's my job. I gaslight everybody. That's why they pay me.
Yeah. Well, number one, I just visited my chiropractor because I threw my back out this morning. Is that funny?
Yeah.
That is true joy. That is a true joy
You
from
wanna
that
know,
laugh.
how I threw my back out?
Is it going to involve the dump button?
No, because I said yes to carrying this show.
Oh.
Have you seen the recent polls?
Oh, yes, I have.
Hey, any GMs? I know all 32 GMs out there.
I was about to say, make sure you.
I'm not injured. I did not hurt my back.
God, unbelievable. I hate you so much.
I love that I got that much of a laugh out of you
Because
and
it's
then
funny.
proceeded to finish with the choke slam.
It hurt me. Listen, we can take calls today for Will Compton if you so choose. 615-737-1045 is the number. Of course, I would have to get him to put on a headset to be able to hear the calls. 615-737.
Tier ones berate him.
What? No, they already have. Because this is so Khari Blasingame. Puffer double booked us. And so we have a fullback interview in the middle of you being here today. So we're going to see who's better at interviewing professional athletes. And I thought that this would be a good way to find out. This would be a case
that's
study.
how we're finding out is I'm coming here and now I'm being told, hey, Will, you're going to interview this athlete.
Correct. You were so bad as a football interviewee a couple of weeks ago that I'm going to put you in my position. And we're
Why
going to
was
see
I bad as an interviewee?
Because I was asking
It's
you.
hilarious that you don't want to take accountability for that because it's you that has to make me feel comfortable enough to have certain conversations. But when you're asking me PC questions about what were you asking me about?
I was asking
the
you
defense?
about defense. Yes.
God. Asking me about the
PC
defense, about
Do you
somebody
understand
getting-
that that's the best answer on the defense you've given is calling it a PC question that you have to answer?
Goodness. Like, of course. So that in turn falls on you.
Yeah.
The difference is if I know it's a bad interview, my hand's up.
Oh, no, I don't.
You're trying to turn it around like, oh, you were a terrible interviewee. You deserve to have to interview athletes.
Say you deserve to have to interview athletes, which is, of course, what they do from time to time, as well as other guests on Bussin' with the Boys. Today is Bo Pelini, which is fitting because the Nebraska futility stars have aligned in today's appearance with Will Compton. Because not only did I see the most ridiculous uniform combination in the history of uniform combinations, not only did I get to hear your former head coach harass you on a podcast, I made it about an hour in, which was enough to understand the dynamic between the two of you. But then Will Compton washes upon our shores in person here to defend. So defend your university and what the hell that uniform thing
Okay,
is.
so from my understanding, this is a fake. This was fake. It was the internet was gaslighting us. There are these uniforms out there where it looks like we're wearing overalls, right?
Yes.
And they look ridiculous.
They look like Super
But
Mario.
apparently, I know Reddit, they have their own culture going on.
Yep.
Somebody said, oh, that was posted on Reddit back in 2016. This was years ago. This is fake. It's just now surfacing. Because obviously when you get news in Nebraska, it takes a little bit for it to get outward.
Yes.
But I will say I fell victim to believing it was true the moment I did see it because I was getting tagged everywhere and, I couldn't do nothing but, emotions start to build up inside of me. That I had to react the way I did. Fortunately, we didn't have to have a dump button on Twitter.
Yeah. No, that's the one of the few redeeming qualities of Twitter is that you can be fully expressive. The FCC clips our wings here on 104.5 The Zone, but that's okay because we both have podcasts where we can be infinitely more expressive.
Could you imagine if we had those unis?
If you oh my God, I would make you wear one.
I would wear one for the content.
Because now you're like the University of or is it Nebraska University? University of Nebraska.
University of Nebraska.
You're like their mascot now. They got you voicing preseason hype videos.
Did you not get juiced by that hype video?
I got more juice than I got from hearing you try to pronounce the word renown.
Did you, hang on, don't move off topic. Did you get juiced up listening to that hype video with my voice behind it?
I was impressed. It made me feel like you made it.
There we go.
It made me proud. Don't yell at me in my ear, Lucas.
I wish I had the headphones on.
I will have to do that during the commercial break since he came to carry the show and I'm the one who has to hold his hand. We'll come back and Will Compton will be here. We'll see who's better.
Is that your most voted poll, by the way, before you go to commercial?
No.
Oh, what is it? What are you most surprised by? Vrabel giving a press conference or Tannehill throwing interceptions? Or what's more popular? Let's do another poll. Do we like Buck's TikTok videos? I wonder how that one will do because you think they're so sweet.
Stop. He's already dead.
He can't hear you because he didn't have his headphones on.
I heard he's already dead, so I can imagine what he was saying.
Unbelievable. We will come back. Thank God there's plexiglass. There's about an inch and a half worth of plexiglass between me and Will Compton because it may come to physicality. We will see who survives on the other side. I'm Buck Reising. This is 104.5 The Zone.
Inside and outside the locker room, we got you covered with the best Titans training camp coverage.
Your home for Titans football.
And flagship for Titans Radio, 104.5 The Zone.
weekly in-person visit with Will Compton of Bussin' with the Boys. The new episode out today with Bo Pelini. Don't call him Faux Pelini. Former Nebraska head coach, LSU defensive coordinator who had a shameful year last year, to be honest with you. But I want to talk about the podcast before Khari Blasingame gets in here, and then we compete as to who is the better athlete interviewer.
There's no competition.
Only on Twitter is there no competition.
Well, there's just no competition. I know what I get paid to do Bussin' with the Boys, and I know what I get paid to do this segment. So.
Why is it always about money with you? It's always about money. This is like a presented by
All American Basketball.
Well, okay, so now we have to teach Will how to do live radio. What he's saying in your ear, the audience can't hear. He's talking to us.
Oh, okay.
That doesn't go out over the air.
Got you. See, our guys, we allow our guys in the back to talk. They have a voice.
Oh, Lucas.
It's not all centered
you're right.
on the host.
You're right. Lucas is totally repressed back there. You know how many times I have to tell him to shut the hell up back there? Stop. You look at how happy he is. He has an ally that has absolutely zero context.
Hey, when are you going to have Mike Eckler on your podcast?
Yo, Eckler would be an incredible interview.
Okay, explain who that is.
Mike Eckler, he was my linebacker coach in Nebraska. He is the special teams coordinator at the University of Tennessee. And when he got hired, I actually did a couple podcasts with a couple of the journalists there. Is that what?
Yeah. Trey Wallace, our buddy Trey Wallace.
That is what you call
a couple people that are
yes.
like Buck Reising out in the University of Tennessee.
He's just out here calling. Just say you people. Say you people. Go for it.
Yeah. And he's a tremendous storyteller, full of energy. Dude was born and bred to be a special teams coach.
And the chili is always hot, right?
The chili is always hot. I need to talk to him about that because he gets a little to be a little much out there.
So he said that with you.
What?
The chili is always hot thing. He's always
I think he came, but that's something new.
He also said he needs, out of a punt returner, a fart in a skillet. Is that also new?
I haven't heard that one either. Yeah,
okay,
so
well, those quotes were being tweeted out in Knoxville last week.
Oh, I love it.
What he's looking for.
Hang on, I want to go back though.
Okay.
So what are the credentials? What is the criteria for who the better interview is? What are we looking at? If we're not looking at money, okay, well, let's look at numbers.
What? Oh, are you talking about like your podcast versus my radio show?
Yeah.
Well, you can't do the comparison that way. I mean, you could do the comparison.
Okay, well then my podcast and your podcast, because you got a podcast. What's your podcast called? I don't even know what it's called.
I have two of them, and don't.
Come you have two podcasts.
Don't come in here and disrespect me. So help me God. So
do you interview athletes on your podcast?
Not anymore because they do things like this. All right.
So what's the criteria? What are we figuring out?
The criteria.
Put me in your box.
How you perform as an interviewer. How coherent are your questions? Do you do things like ramble on longer than your guest actually talks, like one is prone to do on Bussin' with the Boys, where the first hour of the podcast today is just Taylor and Will as opposed to Bo Pelini just chiming in about how soft you are on the golf course?
Hey, that's what happens when you're podcasting. You get to do that. I'm not running and hosting a radio show. If I wanted to do that, I would go to a broadcasting boot camp.
So you're the one trying to compare, and now you're telling me we can't compare.
Wait. You're saying I'm trying to compare. You made the tweet.
Yes.
You wanted to torture yourself and see those results.
I didn't make the tweet.
You wanted to torture yourself and see those results. When Khari comes on, I'll do your job, and I'll be like, how many carries did you get today in practice? How many third downs did you convert? How's Tannehill looking?
By the way, Khari Blasingame is going to join us in about 5 minutes. Before I head out to die in the heat at Titans training camp today because Mike Vrabel is a sadist and wants to have practice at 3:40. So yes, we will conduct an interview. This will be a good test run because I don't know how you and I would work off of each other. This is our Michael Jordan, Scottie Pippen moment.
You're gonna have to be Michael because
you're damn right I'm Michael.
For right now, if you were trying to groom me into being a radio guy, it'd take a week or two.
Oh, this is like Taylor. This is like Lawan FaceTiming me during a commercial break because he heard I was talking bleep about him. Bleep is how we do get away with it around here. Because he heard I was talking bleep about him during the radio show. So instead he just decides to harass me during a commercial break and tell me that he could do my job no problem. Neither of you could do my job no problem. As was evidenced in the solo podcast.
It would be hard dumbing myself down that much to do your job.
You're right. Operating within tight windows, not a strength for Will Compton.
That is very true.
Bussin' with the Boys. So let me ask you you're here to promote your podcast. I'm trying. You're refusing to let me.
Well, you've already started using it as Bussin' with Buck.
No, I didn't come up with that.
Who came up with that? Lucas?
Yes.
I did not. I don't know who came up with that.
You hear him? I tell you what.
No, he's already gotten what he wants out of this conversation. Lucas is now checked out for the remainder of the show because he's gotten a compliment about how he needs to talk more. Poor you.
He's got some good insight.
Oh, my God.
I've got the controls, too.
That's an important part of this process.
Can people hear him now?
Yes, people can hear him now.
I'm just checking.
Oh, my God. This is why he can't do live radio.
That's why people tune in to Bussin' with the Boys every week, man.
Subscribe, rate, and review wherever it is you get your podcast. The Bo Pelini episode is out now. YouTube will debut at 6 p.m. Central Time. So, to that point, the podcast focused around Bo Pelini, your history with him. Of course, you played at Nebraska, not at the height of Nebraska, but at a higher point than it currently exists in now. And the way that you guys were having that conversation reminded me of like the University of Tennessee, because Tennessee is another one of these programs
very similar.
That has been at the highest of highs in college football. Nebraska the same, but since then has been trying to find ways to recreate that greatness unsuccessfully. But in the case of you and Bo Pelini in that era of Nebraska football, they were in a hell of a lot better shape then than they are now. And I wonder what the perspective of somebody who's been through a program like that in this kind of in-between, how that is to experience. Because I'm looking at the University of Tennessee. I've been told about what a great university for football the University of Tennessee is, and I have yet to see it after 6 years of living down here. Nebraska, it feels like the same way, and it's only getting worse based on how Scott Frost's tenure has gone.
Yeah, so what's the question?
What's it like to go through a program with those kind of expectations that, I mean, are totally unrealistic?
Right. So when I was there, it was all about getting back to the 90s. Again, similar situation with the University of Tennessee. And, they would bring guys in from the 90s or those national championship teams to talk to us. And it was all about the expectation was getting everything back to the 90s. And what's interesting about Coach Bo's career is I want to say we went 9 or 10-4 every year we were there. His resume of like all of those wins, there was only like 2 other coaches who could say they won that many games, like north of 60 or north of 65. It was some stat like that. And it was Chip Kelly with Oregon and Nick Saban at Alabama. The hard part with us was we wouldn't win. I wouldn't say the big game because we would be ranked in the top 10 at times, but we wouldn't win the biggest game, the one that mattered the most, the one that was going to push back on national prominence.
Right.
Or we would lose a game that we shouldn't have lost, like in a bad way. So there was just all these extremes every which way. So then by the time they have a bad breakup because they transition away from Tom Osborne, and rumor has it, Tom was kind of pushed out, Tom Osborne, the great Tom Osborne. And the new AD and that new regime didn't necessarily communicate at all with Bo. They kind of wanted to see, from my understanding, him fail. And so when the bad breakup happened with Bo, they bring in Mike Riley. Goes to shit. It just doesn't. The Huskers play poorly. I've heard the stories. Like, it go. Oh, yeah, sorry. I did. I cursed. I just saw you smile. It goes to bleep. And then now we're with Scott Frost. So you think, okay, we're going to get it right now with Scott Frost because he took, who was it, UCF?
Yes.
From 0-10 to undefeated.
Right.
And then
where they're having a conversation about UCF being in the college football playoff.
Correct. Like, hey, we're going to make our own national championship rings because we deserve to be in there just as much as anybody else does.
Yeah.
We finally get Scott Frost, who won in the 90s, who was a national champion. Fans kind of wanted him when he was the OC at Oregon, but we didn't end up landing him or whatever those reasons were. And so now you have Scott Frost. And now that Scott's in it, he's bringing people around the 90s. He's bringing that culture back. I'm a big Scott Frost fan. And you seem to have all the right ingredients to bring it all back to its national prominence. And we've still yet to see, we've yet to see that. So having Bo on and talking about it and talking through those things, obviously hindsight is always 20/20, but now it seems easier to look back on and be like, yeah, it's hard as hell to win 9-10 games a year in college football, especially the way recruiting is now. So everyone who was whining and complaining from the be out in Bo's shoes, it's kind of like, well, how are you feeling now?
Right.
Or, you can, I can't curse. So,
so
you know what I'm saying?
I understand. No, I understand. It's a really interesting look at at the inside of one of these programs. It's a good podcast. It's not quite 2 hours long, but it'll keep you engaged the entire time, and especially when you run it through, for at least the local audience, through the prism of the University of Tennessee and what it's like to be on the inside of one of these formerly great programs that is trying to re-achieve that kind of greatness. What kind of inspiration was Bo Pelini on you? Because I think the majority of the audience looks at him as a bit of a spoof, a bit of a punchline, because of what Faux Pelini turned into. So much so where Faux Pelini now has a column on The Athletic every week in college football. It took on a life of its own. It became less about the actual coach and more about the character that people were receiving him as. So I want to know your perspective about the man he actually is.
That is, I've never heard that. That is interesting. I knew of the Faux Pelini, the Twitter account. I didn't know they had a column every week on The Athletic.
No, he's like big deal now.
And I've never actually heard the opinion of like not really knowing Bo and him becoming more of a punchline for the outside world who doesn't necessarily know who he is.
Well, I'm trying to say that respectfully.
Right. Dude, Bo for me has been the most pivotal influence of any coach that has ever had an influence on me, because when I go there, I'm 18 years old, and I'm wanting to soak in anything. Like my question when I would go on visits was always to the coaches, what did you study or what would you recommend? Because I've always wanted to be a football coach. And so anytime Bo spoke, anything he did, I was always trying to absorb as much as I could, because he is the reason that I've made it this far in the league. Like that's not sleeping on my own ability. That's not discrediting anybody else who's been a part of it. But the way Bo knows defense, which is arguable because of the year he had with LSU, and I know that's difficult, but
it's a weird year
for a second.
Yeah, it's a weird year.
The way Bo taught defense, the way Bo taught me how to game plan, the way he taught me how to study, the way he taught me how to see offensive tendencies outside of the realm of just understanding what you do on defense. It's what has carried me this far in the NFL. It's what got me recognized early in my career, because I was always, it seemed easier to break down opponents and when coaches would credit you, you're kind of like, you just thought it was normal, because I got to learn from somebody like Coach Bo. Also, his philosophies were, it's always focus on the process, compete every day. It was so redundant, more redundant than our ad reads on Bussin' with the Boys, our Chevy ad reads, but so redundant.
This is a Ford show. Get the hell out of here.
That the man was never about babysitting you. You were going to be an all-the-time person, or you weren't going to be anybody at all. You weren't going to not go to class. You weren't not going to do the little things and then go out on Saturday and perform in front of 90,000 fans. And the dude believed it to a core, to where we're having team meetings. He's calling dudes out. Like his just philosophy on the game and how the process takes care of all the results and everything else. Learning that at that age really set me up for my chapters after Nebraska.
I think that's such a cool perspective to be able to get. It's why you'll really enjoy today's episode of Bussin' with the Boys. Subscribe, rate, and review wherever it is that you get your podcasts, and certainly to have, because your experience at Nebraska is one that I think I think it's one of the more interesting ones in, like, I'm not going to say college football history, but just Nebraska's place in college football history, and to kind of follow the timeline of one of those programs, one of these coaches who's tasked with trying to rebuild it to a place where the fan expectations are out of this world. 90,000 people. Nebraska football is the only thing in the state that people have athletically to gravitate towards. It's why Kentucky is such an insane place, because they're the same way. Alabama the same. Like Nebraska in those 80s and 90s, early 90s, a fixture on national television all the time, and the fans still look at it as that's what it's supposed to be. The coaches still need to hold you guys to that expectation of this is who we are, when in reality, teams like UCF are on national television now. It changes the dynamic of recruiting. It changes the dynamic of the landscape of college football, and even more so now where we're having super conferences. And I think the whole product is being cheapened in a way that stinks for people who are college football traditionalists, because all that's gone.
It is interesting. Like, you got to think back when it was the Tennessees, the Oklahoma, the main ones, Nebraska, Miami, all those teams back in the 90s. Like back then, you just didn't have, like, social media is so easy to say now, but you just didn't have this digital revolution of everything. It was training programs were just starting to come out. Bigger, faster, stronger. Nebraska coined the term bigger, faster, stronger. And so these are promotional products to athletes that, I need to go, get bigger, faster, stronger, because nobody knew how to function in a weight room.
Right.
So you saw a couple of these teams play every year, and then you're hearing about the style of athlete they create. So you kind of want to gravitate towards that. And now you have so many things. You got that kid out in Texas who's leaving to go to Ohio State, and he's foregoing his senior year of high school,
Right.
bro. Like, what are we doing now?
We're making money now.
We're making money now, but bro, if you're that good, that young, like if you legit, you're gonna be an NFL quarterback, right? Your money's gonna get made. Like we're now foregoing like high school or high school days. Like you will never play with those dudes again. You can say the same for college, but college becomes a little bit more business than high school. But high school is the most pure. High school football, high school in general is the purity of the game of sport in high school is at its peak. You're never gonna get that again. And you're foregoing it because you want to make some money that you're going to make in Ohio State easy.
Yes.
And you're going to make, if you're that good, you're going to make in the NFL.
Well, I'm looking at a guy like, for example, because he's the Titans' backup quarterback right now, Matt Barkley, who stayed for a senior season at USC and saw his stock plummet in a way that was so painful to watch. And when he ultimately came out, he's now been a journeyman around the league, and things haven't necessarily – I mean, he's had a fine NFL career. He's survived in the league, which is more than you can say for most. But, I mean, you're talking about purity of football. This is so – I mean, I think we're so warped beyond pure in this sport at every level. I think that this has been, especially post-COVID, we're playing football through a pandemic, no matter what your stance on whether they should have done it or shouldn't have done it. It laid the greed so bare in front of everybody because schools need to satisfy the television dollars and need to get that paycheck. It's not about the love of the sport. It's not about the tradition. It's not about running out of the power tee at Tennessee or, the Buffalo that they have at Colorado, which is stupid, by the way. I'm just waiting to get somebody to get impaled by the Buffalo at Colorado. But like all of these traditions that you associate, not about any of that. It's about the television dollars. And so this, when you say purity of high school football, yes, that's so, but probably not for this kid. He doesn't associate it with that. He associates it with, okay, it's branding. It's me. It's name, image, and likeness now. I can start capitalizing on this today. Senior year of high school football be damned. That doesn't mean as much as the, $500,000 in endorsements I'm going to make as soon as I go to Ohio State.
That's fair. I don't know the kid. I don't know his family or anything like that.
No, me neither. I'm just kind of speculating.
Right, but you can speculate that he'll want that money because he wants to signal his status as well. Like he wants that. Like that money's going to come to you. Like he's a stud. He's the best quarterback in the country, right?
Yes, and he looks the part.
Yeah, you can tell he's all into the branding. It's interesting to watch because everyone's in such a rush to figure out the corporate game, like the TV dollars and everything else, and everyone has to get more corporate, get more business, get more branding. That's all it's about. And when that's happening, it's the athlete, the one that's where the money's being made on these athletes. These guys, which I'm a believer in too. So it's as much as I'm saying, like, I don't see how this kid's why he's doing that and everything else, but I'm a believer that the athletes also need to figure it out so they don't get outran and taken advantage of.
Sure.
So it'll be interesting to see the layout of the land in like 5 years, really in a couple of years. But
I mean, as soon as Texas and Oklahoma are official in the SEC, this starts.
It's nuts, man.
All right, we'll take a break. So I got a text that said they're still on the field with 10 minutes of work, 10 minutes showing on the clock for Khari Blasingame. So sounds like Mike Vrabel went a little late today. So we will see if Khari Blasingame is available to us on the other side. In the meantime, we'll do the polls. Will Compton is here. And this has been a good conversation. This may be the best one of these we've done because I can physically see you.
It does feel good.
All right.
Back after these commercials.
The Titans and Falcons go at it in the first preseason game of the year. Continuous coverage all day Friday.
Into the end zone. Touchdown, Titans!
With kickoff at 6 p.m. on your home for Titans football. 104.5 The Zone.
loves so much, we're going to have an interview. We're going to have Titans fullback Khari Blasingame, and then we are going to decide here and now who is the better interviewer of professional athletes. If it is in fact me, or if it is Will Compton. Khari, man, what's going on? It's good to talk to you.
Hey, what's up, Buck? How you doing, man?
Man, we're living just right. Did they tell you that Will Compton was going to be a third party in this interview? Did they inform you of that?
Yeah, they did.
KB, what's up, baby?
What's up, Comp? How you living, bro?
I'm good, man. How's camp out there? How's the heat? How's today? I saw the index was high.
Hey, man, we haven't been out yet. Just a little walkthrough right now, but it's up there. It's toasty, but it's good though. Everything's going well. You know, cats are out here getting better. Just working, man. You know it.
So we have several beefs that we need to squash between the two of you. I don't know if either of you know that this is the direction I'm going to take this interview.
Oh, God, here we go. KB and I know how to handle it, though. So
Surely on social media when you put this man's face on a Squirtle body, and these are the memes that you...
It's Blastoise.
Blastoise, either way. All right, defend yourself. Why are you making fun of your teammate this way? Why does he look like Blastoise?
Wait, what are you talking about? This was last year that I did that.
It doesn't matter. It's fresh content. Go.
Well, he's my teammate. We have fun. We're a couple lockers down from each other. And when I see him looking as jacked as he does, and I'm curious to know how much weight he's put on, but when he looks as stout as he does, and Blastoise came to my brain, I'm like, oh, this would be hilarious to grab a Blastoise photo from the internet, put it on my Instagram, and then follow it up with KB looking like Blastoise.
Did you take kindly, Khari, to him harassing you on social media that way?
Yeah, I did, man. Cause when it's funny, it doesn't really matter, right? But he took the picture of me and my guy Oren from Green Bay, and it was a game I had on an extra little neck pad, and the pads was just sitting up a little too high for my liking, and he exploited it. So. Nah, but I don't mind it because it was true. It was true. I looked ridiculous.
Hey, KB, I love that answer too because Buck is literally he's trying to divide us. He's trying to divide us so he can conquer with his interview questions, whatever competition he's trying to put together.
No, we're having an open. I hate that you have to be the guinea pig for this, Khari, but I told Will we're going to find out who's the better interviewer of professional athletes. So you're going to be the judge of this by the end of the show, by the end of the interview.
So I'm getting interjected into y'all's beef. That's what's going on.
Yeah, it's a personal problem with Buck that I feel like he has to figure out. Let's just start it off with this question, Khari. Who would you rather sit down for an interview with, myself or Buck?
Wow, y'all really putting me on the spot.
Put you on the spot. Hey,
that's
listen,
right. Hey, he's on the spot.
Hey,
he's undecided.
Did Buck give you? Did Buck hook you up with
a
gym bag full of protein?
That's exactly where I was about to go. I've known Comp. I've known Comp since 2017, and some of the conversations we've had sitting in Coach Dobson's office, and just when we were at Vandy, and then to now. I feel like I'd have a little bit more to talk about with Will, so I had to answer it and go Will, man.
That's okay. I will listen. I'm prepared to take many L's during the course of this interview, Khari. I'm prepared for that.
How many questions?
Hey, Khari, that's what I was just thinking. How long is this thing gonna be?
Yeah, like how much am I refereeing here?
Well, maybe I'll throw this one at you. Taking L's much like the one that Will Compton took in Oakland in 2019 when you absolutely mossed the holy hell out of them. Talk about it.
I mean, just, it was a play.
He's like,
it's just a play, man,
Hey, yeah,
Ryan gave me a chance up top, and I got that one. Gangsters get got too, though, so it's all right. Good,
Hey, so I'll tell you a funny story, a nice story that you would like, so you're welcome for this story, Buck.
Thank you.
So after that play, I was still also playing special teams while having to cover Khari, but I think I was running down on punt, or Khari might have been running down, but one of us, we were on punt team, and we were responsible for each other, so we're running down, and I was just grinning the whole time, trying to flash these teeth of Rabe.
Sure.
And I was like, man, isn't it nuts that you were just in my Germantown house, my first year on the Titans, and Khari's last year at Vandy. He's a senior at Vandy.
Yeah.
I'm like, getting it nuts that you were just at my house. I'm giving you supplements, protein, legal.
I was about to say, make sure you clarify.
Yeah, legal. I got to clarify that.
Good God, Khari's like, what the hell is this interview?
He's a college dude. Now it is legal to give supplements. Like, I can give him those supplements.
Keep it moving.
Yeah. But, like, back then, you're like, you don't want him to have to buy supplements. But anyway, I'm like, isn't it crazy that you were just at my house running and getting supplements from me, and now, 2 years later, you just mossed me in a game, bro, and now we're running down with each other on punt team. And he's just like, oh, man, it's just so crazy how life works out. But that's like a little side story after that mossing did happen. I was actually, as bummed as I was that it had to happen on the Titan sideline in front of all the boys, there was a part of me that was genuinely happy that Khari was making that play because he just came. Khari, you just came to the Titans, not long ago, right?
Yeah, that was probably my third week right there.
Yeah,
when we played y'all.
I was hype about that for him.
I mean,
yeah, I remember you said it on the field. You was like, you hate that it had to happen in front of Braves because you knew he was gonna give you some mess about it.
Yeah.
So, Khari, I mean, just in the spirit of asking you about how your camp is going so far, what I guess is your focus right now? I know it's not about the individual; it's about the team, and you guys are trying to accomplish something as an offense. But what is your objective coming into this season? Knowing the kind of heights the expectations that you guys set for yourselves a year ago?
Well, personally for me, it's just about getting better as a lead blocker. That's what the weight's about. That's what all that was about, in the off season. It's about getting better as a lead blocker, knowing my job a little bit more so I can play faster, just knowing what's going on around me so I can play faster, be more, free out there as I play, not thinking too much. And then just making plays, just making as many plays as possible to help the team win these games. Because, like you said, there are expectations on us, and our goal is to go out there and win. So I just want to help do that any way I can. That's what my focus is on.
Khari, enough of the talking about the expectations and stuff like that. What I'm curious about is what have you picked up mentally from last year to this year? What books, what new things have you implemented into your routine? Because we're in the middle of training camp. I know the conversations you have with yourself, man to man, and then also with other guys on how bad wanting to play each and every day, showing up, going out in the heat every day, running in the linebackers, running into everybody every day. What have you picked up or what are you adding to your routine that you've developed and grown since last year?
There was a book that we talked about, me and you, Comp. It Takes What It Takes. I've been reading that. I can't remember the author's name right now, but I've been reading and tapping into that. Really just a lot of the deep belly breath that we talked about at Boost a lot. Doing that before walking into the building just to relax and just to, get back in the moment and not be so anxious about what's going on around me or what's coming up next. And really just the word, man. I've been in my Bible heavy, just letting that center me so I'm not getting too anxious or worried about what's going on around me. So I think that's a huge part of my routine. But as far as books go, It Takes What It Takes is a big one that I've been implementing into like what I think about.
I need to dive into that one.
I know I hate that that's where we have to end it, but that's the end of the show. Khari, quick, who did it better, me or Will today?
Gotta go with my man Comp, man.
The boy, let's go, Khari. Hey, have fun in practice,
Sorry,
man.
Buck.
It's all right. I'll see you out there later. That's the end of the show. Will Compton's been a mess. Many thanks to Khari Blasingame. If you missed a minute, there is a podcast. Go subscribe to the Buck Reising Show wherever it is you get your podcast. Blaine and Mickey up next.
Bustin' with the boys.
Get out of here.
Do I have everybody's attention now?
Coming up tomorrow morning.
If you missed today's show with Rhett Bryan, Buck Reising, Brad Crawford, and my VFL brother, Inky Johnson, you can listen to all of it when you download the podcast. Coming up Thursday, my frenemy, Steve Palazzolo of Pro Football Focus, and you will hear part of my conversation with Titans linebacker Rashawn Evans.
J. Mart and Ramon, tomorrow morning from 6 to 10 a.m. on 104.